Leap Pound Greater.
What it do? This your host Big Worm on City Speak Podcast. Yo, what it do? This your host Big Worm from City Speaks Podcast, and I am sitting with Miss Tonia Jones. How you doing?
I am doing phenomenal.
Before we get into anything, without even knowing you, I was getting into real estate, and I was wholesaling. I was getting into wholesaling, and I stay in Silver Springs,
Okay.
north side of Tampa. My grandma lived on 830 East Yukon, long as I can remember. And this lot across the street from the park, empty. It been empty since I was little. And you happen to build 6 houses on it. So before we get into that, I want to say that thank you for what you did to the neighborhood, because that did bring my grandma house worth a couple dollars now. It's worth a couple dollars now. And before we get into it, I know they see the glam and the glitz now, but let's get into how you started.
Oh, wow.
In this pursuit of wealth that you're pursuing.
Okay. I will say that I started by failing. I started by making a whole lot of mistakes. I started by not only making mistakes, looking at those mistakes and saying, okay, how do I make things, how do I follow people? That's what I didn't want to do, because sometimes I try not to ask questions. I didn't want to network. I just want to stay with my crew. And in 2008, when the bubble happened, I was kind of doing things my way, and it crumbled. And that, I said, if real estate, I love what it did for the short time, but I wasn't expecting it to go bad. And when it went bad, I was like,
Yeah.
what do I do? Where the money went? I'm serious. So that's when I said, if I ever get another shot at doing real estate, I'm going all in.
So what exactly happened? Because everybody, I know a couple of people that say it lost money when the book. What exactly happened for you to lose money in real estate in 2008?
I was just buying stuff, and there was people were saying that, like, I'm gonna give you an example, like Riverview. They were like, Riverview gonna be a hot area, houses gonna be worth 400,000 or 500,000, yada yada yada. So I thought, okay, and I bought in Riverview, and then within not even 2 years, the house that I spent $297 was worth $180. Because what happened is everybody, the industry was they were allowing people, the mortgage industry, to get loans that they should not have been giving out loans. Banks were just giving people loans, and so it just crashed. So I had a few properties, and everything lost its value.
Did you sell? You sold everything?
I sold what I could sell, and I sold what I could sell, and then I was able to get out a few things. But I lost with about 4 properties. Everything was a loss. And I said, okay. But real estate has always been the thing that has kept me afloat. I bought my first property when I was about 25 years old. Didn't even know what I was doing. And that's what I try to tell young people. You don't have to know what you're doing. You just got to follow somebody that does. My uncle just kept telling me, build a house, build a house, build a house. It's going to pay off later.
Was this your house to live in, or this
to live in?
Okay.
And he was like, a house is a bank. And he would say that. And I'm trying to go listen to what it was, the damn Two Light Crew people. I wasn't thinking about him. But he was somebody who kind of had it going on. So I'm like, okay, I got to listen to my uncle, because there's something he just keeps harping on, get a house.
Especially if he keep talking about it.
Yes, I was like, okay. So I decided to buy a house, move to Tampa from St. Pete, buy a house. And my credit was bad. Didn't even know anything about credit at the time. My credit was bad. And the guy that built the house, this guy Castro, it was Castro and Castro. He built my house, and he said, I'll keep the mortgage for 2 years. Interest rate was 10%, and I think my payment was around $850, $900. And I was like, okay, cool. And the Castro was the person who he took me under his wing, and he told me about real estate. He told me about lines of credit, all things that later on was going to be to my advantage. but I didn't know at the time.
So 25 and your credit shot. Why? why you think they don't teach us? I've been in like school. I went to the college, and they never taught us about managing money or credit. Why you think they keep that away from us?
Ooh, baby, that's a loaded question. And we get into that, y'all might get me kicked off the podcast. I don't think our system, our government system, I don't think things were designed for us. But I think it's out there for us. I don't think it's designed for us, but we can get ahead in it if we make better choices. First thing we do when we get money, including myself when I was young, we want to go show off. So other people, I think it starts with the kids. I think teaching kids, like I'm teaching my daughter right now, my youngest, she's 16. Hey, Paige, let's go over your checkbook. I think doing little things like that, but I just don't think that it was designed for us.
Yeah, they don't teach. I learned about credit probably like 5 years ago, and it's like, damn, if they would have told me this when I was fresh out of high school, I would have been straight. Like when I got into wholesaling, and I seen you supposed to do it, but I don't know if you actually know him. Eight the Hustler, he's a real estate dude in Philly.
No, I just see him all the time.
And he was saying like a lot of his count was they got their kids on like lines of credit, and I'm like, by the time they 18, they gonna be straight. So they need to teach that.
I think they should, but if they don't, I think we have to be our own teachers. I think once we know what to do, it's up to us to try to teach it to everybody, because now I do know, and I try to teach it to my niece, to my cousin, but sometimes it's not. I don't care how much I do, they still will go out and go buy the latest Jordans. They still will go. So we have to, to me, we got to change what we think is important. It's a mindset. I don't go out. I know that to me, debt is not a good thing, but I know that if I learn how to manage debt, I can do all the things that I'm doing now.
Do you, how many houses do you have? How much real estate do you own?
Well, right now, we are building the 12th. I own 5 properties. I only have a mortgage on 2.
Oh, wow. So
I profit. Don't. Yeah, I try to pay everything off. Everything I get, I'm a person that I believe that you got to pay things off. So I'm not looking at whatever I do. I'll make a profit. I put it right back into something. I make something. I put it right back into something. So
you been in real estate over 20 years. If I'm 23, I work at Walmart. I make $30K a year, and I want to get in real estate. What would you tell that person?
To get in real estate, because that's how simple it is. I think, and I'm gonna give you an example. I have a young man that. There are kids that want to know, and there's kids that want to get on social media and pretend like they know. He said, Miss Tonia, what can I do? I said, how's your credit? He says, all right. We fixed his credit. He had a credit card with, I think the limit was, let's say, 20 grand. He bought a lot for 12. And in 9 months, he sold a lot for 30. He used $12,000 off his credit card. He had to pay the interest, but then he sold it for 30. So it takes time. It takes wanting to truly get to the next level. And he didn't want the big chain. So you got to make some choices. Do you want that chain, or you want the shoes, or are you really going to sit here and take my advice and run with it? And out of all the kids that I've talked to, I've probably only had 2.
Does that get frustrating trying to show somebody like what's really out here, and they let it crumble, or they just don't take it? It's
sad, because I'm a girl from the streets. And I think when you're in the hood and you seeing, how bad the hood is, and you see all these things, and you look and you know that, dang, if only we know. And then you find out what you don't know, and you're trying to teach it to people who sitting where you sat, and they don't want to take it. That's frustrating. It's hurtful. It makes me, at times, I go, damn, what do we do to reach our people? Do they want to be? I'm only where I'm at because I started out surviving first. I done made a lot of mistakes. Where I come from, South St. Pete, shit, you make it out alive, you happy, But I won't ever not be happy. You know what I mean? Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have this hustle. Leaders are, like, you got to have a hustle. You can't think about, even now, look at my hair. I ain't paying nobody $600. and I can afford it. I'm just going to grow out my natural hair and keep me some edges. So you got to think about, we can't all want the same thing. We can't all, you got to be okay with not being okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody just want to get on the internet and pretend. That was shocking to me. I was like, what are we supposed to do? Like, I see people on the internet, I'm like, this little boy just posted some stuff with some chains and shoes, and his credit score 300. Huh? This world is crazy.
That we live for the internet. Now. This new generation, we live.
Yes.
A couple likes and some views, and
I'm glad I didn't grow up in this generation. My kids would be like, "Mom, you putting the wrong stuff on the internet. You doing this because I don't even know that there's a code to it." I'm like, she's like, "Mom, you don't supposed to like this person's stuff. You don't supposed to write. You in the shade room in the comments." I'm like, because I'll be in the comments telling somebody, "Hey, baby, this is how you could do some real estate. This is what you can do. This is how you go about it." And I'm really thinking that I'm helping. And it's like, I'm doing too much for real.
The tech world crazy. What was your first successful project? You lost in 2008. What was your first? Okay, now we back on roll.
Yeah, my first successful project was. I'm gonna back up just a little bit. I don't know if you familiar with preservation work. Mm-mm. Well, it was a point where everybody was working with the banks on foreclosures. I did that for 10 years, and we were pretty good at it. Very successful. We worked with the banks on foreclosures, meaning we preserved the property until the bank was able to sell it. Mm-hmm. So that was me. That was my first brush of just kind of learning about the houses and doing stuff like this. So that I had a friend, he was in preservation work, and that's who got us into it. And then it started doing real bad, real fast. Well, after 10 years, it started going downhill because now there's not a lot of foreclosures. Mm-hmm. And so we were in the red, probably 150,000, and we were just trying to come up, but we had great credit. So I was like, okay, what can we do? And I tapped on my better half, and I said, "Hey, what we gonna do? Let's build some houses." And he said, "You think we can do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, we know. There's nothing about a house we don't know." Mm-hmm. And he had a friend that was building houses, and so we started talking to people and networking and meeting like contractors and seeing who we felt we could work with, and we put everything with credit. We did credit cards. We put on credit cards. We didn't care. And we had a project manager. He kind of did the first house for us. We made about $50,000 on the first one, and then he got greedy.
The project manager.
The project manager. So he charged us $65 a square to build a house, and we had to just kind of follow him and see what he was doing. And we were fascinated, and we liked the process. And then he got greedy and was like, "Okay, it's gonna be $87 a square for the next one." Mm. And I said, "Use a lie." Use a damn lie. And so out of that, we decided that we're going to push him out of the way. We got with the general contract and said, "Hey, we want to work out something with you." And that's how it started.
So do you sell all your houses?
Yes.
Why? 'Cause I know a lot of real estate people say they own it and then they just rent it forever.
I have some rental properties, but when you're in real estate, you always have to look at what is, like, for me, the goal is to get maybe 10, 15 rental properties down the line. But right now, I need to generate an income where I'm getting money coming in so that I can keep taking the profit and doing something else with it. So we'll build them, and then we sell them, and then we'll find something else. And then we'll just keep repeating the same thing.
Are all your houses in Florida, Tampa area?
Everything is in Tampa, and everything has been in low-income areas, except we found a house over in Seminole Heights, and we did something in Seminole Heights.
And Seminole Heights, that's starting to become a little upscale cottage homes. When I first got in real estate, there were a lot of people I was meeting weren't from Florida, and they were like, they don't do Florida because it's oversaturated and like the houses be high. It'd be hard for them to make they wasn't building houses either. So they were like the Florida market is oversaturated. How do you feel about that saying? Because it's out there.
It's so funny. I don't listen to that shit. I don't listen to nothing people say because people crazy. You can't listen to that. You got to do your own thing. If you listen to what people say, you ain't gonna ever make no money. And the people that's saying it ain't never done it. That's the thing. If somebody come to me, and you get a lot of that, You know how many people call us every week? Y'all should be doing multi-units. What you doing? Oh, I deliver for Uber right now. Boy, bye. So you can't listen to they say. They're going to say, people going to always have something to say. The things that's happening right now in the real estate game, it has never been done before. Nobody knows. I don't think realtors even know. We were going to list a house at our last project. We were going to list it for $239, and we had about 15 people wanting to buy it the first day it went on the market, and we sold it for $260. So
Jesus Christ.
you can't listen to they say. I think for young people, if they want to get into real estate, for one, you got to figure out what avenue of real estate you want to get into, and you got to decide. And you got to say, okay, you can flip land. You can say, I'm just going to be like, a lot of people want to be like the bird dogs, I guess, the people that find them and, you know.
That's what I was trying to do. I find it, send it to somebody with some money, like, hey, just let me get my little middleman cut.
That's a good way to make money. I bought the property. I bought a property for $175, but the gentleman that brought it to me, he brought it for $165. He didn't change no money, no nothing. At closing, he got his $10,000, and you can make money like that. It's a hustle. This is a hustler's game, and a lot of people not hustling. They just want to post pictures.
Where do you see, the Florida, Tampa especially, it's getting a little gentrified. How do you feel about the gentrification that's going on in Tampa?
When it first started, I was mad a little bit because I was like, dang, they're pushing all these people out of the areas and they're bringing, people in and da-da-da. So with gentrification, I'm one of those people that it's kind of, I wish our people recognized what was happening. I wish we knew that don't sell grandma house. Keep grandma house, don't sell it. And I wish they understood that pushing, not going far and getting a bigger house, I wish they understood value and what that meant, but they don't. So I'm not saying that I'm for or against gentrification. I just think it's one of those things that I wish we would keep grandma house and not sell grandma house. Because there's a reason that, look at everything what's happening in Tampa. Everything is in the city. There's no bad areas anymore. When I told people I was building in Sulphur Springs, they were like, are you nuts? Are you crazy? Probably them same people that was talking about that other stuff with you. And we sold the last house in Sulphur Springs for $259,000.
You push grandma value up now.
Absolutely. So you can't listen to what they say. And you got to be a risk taker. If you in real estate, you got to know that it takes a minute to get your money. And that's why what I did is I opened up an assisted living facility. I did that I need some residual income, because once you, from start to finish, the whole process, from the time that we get ready to build a house, from the time that we find the lot, we got to get with an architect. Then after the architect, you got to submit it to the city. And then still, so those months it takes before you even start is 2-3 months done pass.
Did you learn all that? Because see, you just went from finding art. I don't even know an architect. Did you learn all that from the project manager, or that was just
shit? I learned that from Google. Try please. You can learn anything on Google. It's all on Google. Okay. You Google, and you ask questions, and you go back to Google, and then you see somebody building a house. I wasn't afraid to pull over. I wasn't afraid to get out my car and say, hey, who doing the brickwork? And I talk to them, and I network, and I see somebody else doing something, and I talk to this person, and it ain't pretty, and it's a lot of work, and you got to weed out all the bad contractors, and you got to weed out those lots over in Sulphur Springs. 6 lots I bought for $68,000, and I built 6 houses on them.
The last one for $260.
It was $260 the last one, and people laughed at us. They asked what we were doing, and they were saying stuff like, the area right by that park. They were like, bombs hang at that park. I was feeding the bombs. Because I don't look at nothing like other people.
It's crazy that particular area. It's across the street, you're in the hood, but that particular area is real. It's quiet.
It's not as bad as what people think. It's not as bad.
There's some bums over there, but it's a nice area.
But now what happened is the more houses you build and the more stuff you do, then the bombs kind of they go away.
Yeah, they notice it. They'll see it.
Absolutely. I don't look down. I treat the bomb like I treat the CEO. I just want to build me some houses. And I used to actually say, hey, can y'all make sure don't nobody break in? And they did. So I think it's the way you look at stuff.
And you mentioned the ALF, the assisted living facility.
I love that.
Where
I get excited about the ALF.
where did the passion come from? That kind. If you go to your post, you always mean. Well, I'll let you speak on it. Where the passion for it?
Oh
come
man, that's my heart. You got to do something that fill your pockets, and you got to do something that fuel your heart. And my grandmother raised me. I came home at 16, and my mom was dead on the couch. And prior to that, I had been in and out of foster homes and stuff. And so I remember my grandmother had 9 kids. And then she finally getting a little break in life. And her daughter dies that has 5 kids and an autistic brother. I had 2 brothers, in trouble and one on drugs and my little grown mouthy butt. And I remember them sitting in the kitchen and everybody was saying, Annie, you got to let them kids go. You can't take care of those kids. And my grandmother said, Tonia, help, and we're going to make it. We're going to be all right. So she took care of me.
You 16 at the time.
I was 16. And all I was thinking is, and like I think now, I got to hustle. I got to do something. I got to make sure. But that moment where my grandma could have listened to everybody, but she chose to keep us. And so I wanted an assisted living facility because I think when people get old, people forget about them. My grandmother had a sixth grade education. She made $12 an hour. She never took no welfare. She didn't know how to drive. She cooked, she cleaned, she went to work. And when she got sick, I just would come over and talk to her, and I could kind of see her health failing. So I wanted something to give back to her, and I wanted everybody to know her name. So Annie's assisted living facility, and I never worked in the medical care field a day in my life. And I opened up this facility. I got my license, and it saddens me that a lot of black girls want to be CNAs.
I was going to talk about that.
They want to make $10 an hour. You can own your own facility.
I seen you was offering that. How many you was offering CNAs to show them like you can?
I got 2 that's following me now, and I pray they open up a facility. It's something where they're in it. You got to have a heart for this. And I like it because it's money too. Don't get it twisted. You want to make a profit. I got to make some money now. I love my residents. I took a 26-hour class. I took a state test. I bought a property, fixed it up, and I opened up during the pandemic because I think I'm all that. Everybody was like, it's a pandemic. I said, so I don't give a damn. I got to open up. And I opened up May 1st. So I'm actually celebrating 1 year. And I've been profitable. Congrats. And I love my residents. I walk in and it gives you something good to do. But that is a business. Everybody like to do what's the catchy thing. Everybody can't do real estate. It's so much stuff you do in real estate that's tough, and you got to deal with shady people. You got to deal with contractors. I had a contractor we paid, he ran off. You got to deal with contractors not showing up. So you just see the end result, the end game. But it's so much that goes into it. But I know a girl who was in my class with the assisted living facility. She rented out a house for $1,200 a month, asked the guy, hey, can I use this to open up my assisted living facility? He said yes. She spent about $4,000. She put grab bars. She did some different things to make it accessible for elderly people. And right now she's making about $7,000 a month profit.
Still paying.
Oh, yeah. And she paying $1,200. So it's a way. Everybody, and I wish we can speak just a little bit. I got to say this. We got to do better with trades because electricians, plumbers, the people that I work with, they making millions. They are making some money. So I wish that we promoted people doing a little bit more with trades and not always the people that just want to sell the houses and take some pictures. I even had a guy, he was like, and don't call me. If they watching, don't call me. He was like, I want to learn about real estate, Miss Tonia. It's hot. I'm outside. I'm talking about, let's go, baby. I'm going to show you. He said, can you stand right down and take a picture? A picture of what? He was like, because I need to post.
Need to put it on the ground.
And he really put it on the Instagram and put, I'm a real estate mogul. If you don't get your ass away from me, boy, I don't want to deal with people like that. I just can't do this. I want real people to talk to me that understand that you got to do your due diligence. You got to read, you got to research, and you really have to understand that real estate is a tough business. When you close and that money hit your account, Ooh, that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. But it's a lot that happens between that. The assisted living facility, that's a business that I wish more couples would do. Because people making some good money. And if you're a couple and you want to get into something and you're young, you can make good money like that.
I'm glad you brought up the trade. I'm going to plug this every time. When I was in high school, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, teachers always ask you what you want to be in life. And I never knew it, but I knew I wanted to get me some money. I was like, as long as I can get me some money, I'm all right.
Mm-hmm.
And late, my girl, she worked for a nonprofit. And it made me think, if I can reach the kids that would like me in school and tell them about trade, 'cause when I was doing the wholesaling, these people making millions of dollars coming out just, okay, you need this for this lighting. And I'm like, if they would have just taught me that probably would have been a path I would have followed to see, like, I can be an electrician and make money. 'Cause I don't think people really understand how much money.
They make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money. So I'm going to plug that every time I can.
I wish our kids, you have a kid, maybe he's not the best with school and things like that, but he good with his hands. Okay, let's have him do something with trades. It's a good thing. Plumbers making a whole lot of money.
Crazy money. Is it too late to get in real estate? You know, everybody doing real estate. Is it too late to get in real estate?
No. It's never too late to do nothing. Real estate is, like I keep saying, it's not for the weak. And if you want to work hard and grind, I think everybody needs real estate on their portfolio. It's very few rich people you're going to find that don't have any real estate. And right now it's a good time to get into it, or even just start learning it. I wish more people followed us when we get ready to start a house. Like, I post stuff on the internet, but I do it a lot because I think, dang, if they see me doing it and they know my backstory, and I always say my better half, but my husband now, my now husband, he and I both always think that, dang, people gonna see that he from West Tampa Projects, I'm from South St. Pete, so we always think that we just gonna have these people following us and coming to us and looking at us and saying, dang, he did this, or so it's never too late. And if you ever think like that, then it will be too late. That's when it's too late, when you start thinking like that. But it's not too late.
Right now we're in a pandemic. And I keep seeing they like letting renters not have to pay rent. And for you to know both sides, you have properties and
Absolutely.
you know people that probably need the. How do you going about it? First off, with your houses that you're renting out.
It's so funny you say that because I was never afraid to put my houses on Section 8. So what happens is all these people, from some of my friends that are landlords, would call me, T, you'll tell me about Section 8, because for me, even though the pandemic was going on, I was still able to get my rent. And I like Section 8 because I feel like it's a way to help people with less, somebody that they work, but they still just can't get to that next level. So I always think that Section 8 is a good way. Anything that helps us, lower income, and people that I know, working moms that's doing it by themselves and they need a little help, I'm all for that. So I think that I understood both sides, because some people milked it. They didn't want to leave. They knew they were still working from home, but they were pretending they weren't working. So that just was a tough place to be in. But I always say you should diversify your portfolio if you have real estate, and don't be afraid of Section 8.
So all your houses on Section 8?
Except one, yeah.
So what? So the government didn't stop sending. They still.
No, I still got my payments. Everything was fine.
Everybody should have been on Section 8.
And you just got to screen people better. It's a lot of people that rent houses and think, I'm not going to rent to Section 8. But I don't want to ever deny a kid an opportunity to live in a nice neighborhood. I think that's where a lot of folks miss the ball. You just got to screen.
Is it a gap of the amount you can charge if you on Section 8? If you were on Section 8, could you charge more for the house?
No, it's just Section 8. They'll tell you, they have like a zip code list. You can Google Section 8 zip code list for Hillsborough County. So that list kind of gives you a guide of what they'll pay. Okay. Like they'll say in one of my houses, it's the zip code, I charge $2,100 a month, and they pay me $1,592. And then the person pays the difference. Okay. So they pay something. Okay. And I like it because it's guaranteed money. You don't have there's no issues, and they help screen the tenant. Like they won't. I think it's certain criteria with
Gotta
their
meet.
record and things like that. But I don't. I love it. I love being able to help folks.
You ever had a bad tenant? You got any
Heck
tenant
yeah.
stories?
If you in real estate and you rent the house, hell yeah, you have a bad tenant. But you handle it. You know.
What's the worst tenant? Why you don't sign up with a property manager?
I ain't paying nobody to do that. That's money. That's 10%. Drop, please. I ain't got 10% to give nobody. I mean, I think it's a good thing. Once, if I had 15 or 20 houses, then I'd probably say, yeah, let me get a property manager. But right now we have 4 or 5. No, I can handle that.
Yeah,
I'm the property manager. I'm coming, and I put a clause in my contracts with them. I'll say, hey, every 90 days I'm gonna come by and just check and make sure things. 2 of the properties have pools, so that's why I'll charge a little bit more, just because I want to send a company out to maintain the pools. But no, it's a beautiful thing to have Section 8.
Okay.
And you helping less fortunate folks.
That's my mother's worst fear. I told her when I was in the real estate, and I'm like, Mama, rent out a house. She's like, don't let them people tear up your house, and then you can't make them leave. And then that's when I got introduced to property managers actually do it. But like you said, they want 10%.
Yeah, you know, 10%. You can go by. You can put it in there that monthly. I'm gonna come by. I'm gonna check on my property. Anytime somebody leave your property, it's gonna be stuff you gotta do. You're gonna have to paint, so you have to account for that. You charge a little you charge a little bit more money up front, a security deposit. But I don't think about that. I just, long as they do certain things, I'm okay. Don't overthink it. Get you some money. You be thinking too much.
Before we go into the last segment, is it anything I missed or anything you want to get off your chest that I probably missed in the interview?
Oh, gosh, I know the young people gonna hate me for this, but I just wish that we get out of this faking it type of mentality.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I wish that young folks really weren't afraid to put in the work. And I don't say that from a place to, I've been bad with money. I'm not a person sitting up here saying that, hey, I've been, no, I was young. I remember maxing out a credit card and Spiegel sent me a bill and I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I didn't even know I was supposed to pay it. Shit, I was like, and I mean, I didn't even understand the concept of money. But now with us being in an information age, there's no reason so many dumb people got smartphones. You can Google everything. If you don't understand, I'm talking about, I can have a pain in my pinky. What do you do for pinky pain? You can Google everything. So we got too much information for us as a people to still be so uneducated. And I wish that we can stop faking it. Everybody, like if somebody want to really learn about houses and they're serious, I want them to come to one of our job sites and kind of look and kind of watch us and figure, really follow, not just want to make it look good. And so that's the biggest thing that I see with young folks. And I want to help young people because nobody helped me. We were, in my day, most of us, we worked to help our families. We didn't have anybody telling us, hey, do this, hey, do that. But now I'm right here. What's your excuse? I don't have a college degree. My husband don't have a college degree. I don't have anything, but I will out hustle anybody. I got a strong work ethic. Those are the things that you have to have. You don't have to, I'm not a nurse, but I own an assisted living facility. I learned, I study. You can be a copycat. You just got to copy the right cat. And I think so many people don't understand that. Copy me, tell me, and you have to be able to be teachable. You can't think you know everything. People got to get out of that because I'll learn from anybody. That's why I'm not afraid to talk to people. So if I can help young people, man, y'all have no idea. I get emotional, especially when I'm looking at a little black girl with a baby. Baby daddy got killed and she's struggling and she thinks she needs somebody. No, you don't, baby. You need you. And you got to just go. You got to go hard. So for me, being able to do this stuff, I'm shocking myself sometimes. But I just keep going. I was in the red. They said, well, how this all came? I failed. We were in the red. I had business making a whole lot of money, but I didn't know how to spend the money. I didn't know how to, I think that, I thought I was supposed to take care of everybody in my family. I thought I was supposed to do all this stuff. And then once I've learned now, my favorite word is no. I got boundaries. I got, I'm taking care of myself, and health.
I be seeing you working out in the morning.
Oh,
I be seeing you.
yes. I'm gonna hit 50. Fabulous, baby. Because you know what? It all goes together. I don't care how much money I got. If I'm not
Health
healthy,
is wealth.
it don't matter. So I had to learn that, and that was hard for me. Just learning and trying to unlearn and relearn and do things. But if we stop faking it, some of us can make it. We just keep faking.
I don't even want to go on my next 4 questions.
Oh,
you
sorry.
You done ended. I should have said that for last. Final 4.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge you done faced in life?
The biggest challenge that I faced in life is not realizing that I was enough and thinking that I owed everybody something. And that was hard, always thinking that I have to pay somebody back for something, or just I'm enough. I'm the shit. I'm the prize. I don't know. You're probably young. You probably don't remember Cracker Jacks. But in Cracker Jacks, there was a prize in it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even want to eat the damn popcorn. You want that prize. I'm that. And we are all black women. I got a soft spot for us. I think we're overlooked, underpaid. We compete with each other. And now at almost 48, I realized that I was always enough. And that's something that I wish I could tell young girls. You're enough. And whatever happened to you ain't your fault. It just happened to you.
Okay. What's the biggest lesson you done learned?
He gonna cut this out.
I hope not.
Men ain't shit. No, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. I promise I'm teasing. The biggest, that was just a tease. That our existence isn't defined by a man. I think that I lost a lot of good years trying to be good to too many of the wrong people. And I think that you got to be okay with letting go when disrespect is being served. You got to be okay with getting up from that table. So the biggest lesson that if I could just tell women that you got to know, because when you know your worth, like people say that's a cliche, but when you know your worth, you ain't got to put the weave in your hair. You ain't got to put the lashes on. When you know your worth and somebody treats you bad or disrespects you or cheats on you or whatever it is, you won't take it. So I don't care how pretty they look on the internet. I don't care whatever it is. But when you don't know your worth, you'll take a whole lot. And I'm glad that it took me in my 40s to find my worth.
It's never too late.
No, I'm glad I learned it. It took a lot of money, a lot of therapy. But I know who I am now.
What's the best advice you done received?
Oh, gosh, my grandma dropped so many jewels. I'll try to pick one. This too shall pass.
Say it again.
This too
shall
pass. Okay. Every time something bad would happen, I think it's the end of the world, and I think I gotta this and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And my grandma would always say, this too shall pass. And it does. It passes. Every time. So
you're right about that one. Last, what's the worst advice somebody didn't give you?
The worst advice is always somebody telling me, man, you can't do this because such and such, or you can't do that because of this. You can't build houses. You ain't a contractor. You can't open an assisted living facility. You're not a nurse. You can't do this. You don't have a degree. So just always telling me what I can't do. And that fuels me. So I don't listen to them. They say, I ain't never listened to them. So that's the worst advice. Just people making you think you can't do something. You can do whatever you want to do. But you got to be okay with failure. You got to be okay with failing. And so many people aren't. I'm okay if I fail. And I think that's what rock bottom taught me. I done been at the bottom. Child, please. I eat a syrup sandwich. I'm okay with that.
Miss Tonia, I am so happy you came and sat with me. Thank you.
Thank you. This feels so good. When you told me you want me to come on a podcast, I was laughing because I'm like, Me? I've never been on a podcast, so
I don't know what people was thinking. They should have been got you before I got you.
Thank you. This
Miss
feels
Tonia,
good.
thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
Wine, City Speaks, Miss Tonia Jones. We out.
Bye, y'all.
City Speak Podcast.
We pound greater.